This week, a new Imperium Keepstar is anchored in Delve. A few more PAPI Asbels are dropped in the O-EIMk constellation and destroyed. The initiative dropped a bunch of Raitarus to keep PAMFAM occupied, and FI Coalition end their campaign against IGC. And I have some new scope syndication skins to give away. Hello pod people, I'm Frost, and this is your weekly EVE Online War Update. Welcome back. So first thing we need to do is announce the winners of the Scope Syndication Skin prize draw from last week. My winners are Brian and Andrew, two very short YouTube names this week. And also I have a winner from the previous week that has come through. That is Ling Chen Xing, who is right here, who has claimed his skin. And John Rodriguez, that's your YouTube name. Please check your comments. You did win the week previously and you still need to get in touch with me via Discord to claim your skin. And I have two new skins to give away later on in the show. Right, so let's, as always, jump up into my box. There we go, we've got our universe in front of us. I'm gonna grab my pen. I have fixed my pen with regards to it changing size all the time. I need to thank Niall and Conti of Sorry in advance for helping me out with that. Turns out it was mapped to my scroll wheel, and when I was scrolling through the kill boards, that was what's setting it off. So that's all done now. So, areas we're gonna cover. We are going to be looking at Delve. We are going to be looking at Calidela Expanse and Ethereum Reach. And we're also going to go up to Outer Ring and Cloud Ring because there's actually some stuff that went on up there. And as there's quite not a lot going on this week in the war, it might as well cover this as well. All right, so let's start with Calidela. So in Calidela, we have the Pandemic Horde staging system, which is R10-GN. And the initiative dropped an Asbel in this system. And it basically, the final timer was on Monday night, literally at the time this show was going out last week, about 1900 UTC. And this, as I understand from the initiative, was a diversionary tactic so that it would pull PAMFAM forces away whilst they dropped a Keepstar in the 3-D MQT system. More on that a little bit later on when we come on to Delve. But the main thing is that if we actually look at the kill board, there we go. So you can see the Asbel, there was 764 people involved, so there's 764 people that were pulled out of Delve to go and deal with this. And in fact, there was actually 1,000 in local when I checked at the time of this thing was being destroyed. And in terms of the anchoring, obviously the flip side of that is that literally it's a 15-minute timer when you drop a Keepstar. It was in a Sinojam system with bubbles on the gate. So whether PAPI were actually able to respond, even if they had their full forces in Delve, is very much still in question. But this is still the announcement that was made by the initiative and the Imperium as a whole. All right, so that is Calidela kind of sorted. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump over to Ethereum Reach, where the initiative is still involved. So the initiative are keeping themselves busy at the moment, dropping loads of Raitarus. Now, when I say loads, they have dropped in 8KE-YS. They have dropped 5 Raitarus in this system. They have also dropped some, there was one that was in TZ-Z4M. There was another one in O-LJOO, and another one in KRPF-A. So looks like the initiative are A, trying to generate some content, and B, potentially trying to pull sort of PAMFAM forces away and keep them busy in Ethereum Reach. Now, one of these has already died, the one in TZ. There are still 5 in 8KE-YS, which was this one here, and then I believe the other 2 have been reinforced as well. So that's basically what's happening in Ethereum Reach. So not really any kind of major strategic structures anchored, what a mouthful, but as I said, primarily content and trying to probably drive PAMFAM forces away and keep them busy with all these Raitarus. I understand as well that PAMFAM have dropped an Astra House on grid in 8KE-YS. In fact, they have. I just see it for myself. I flew over there and took a look. So I would imagine that's going to be dealt with over the next week or so. All right, so that covers Ethereum Reach and Calidela. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Feythabolis. Now, if you remember, Feythabolis were attacking IGC. And once again, at the time of the show being released last week, and at the same time as this Asbel being in this final timer in R10, the Keepstar that belonged to IGC in NX5W-U was in its final timer. So FI Coalition formed for this, overwhelming force. They had primarily capitals as well as some subcap fleets. Red Alliance came along and literally brought a few harpies just to take pot shots at fighters that were being put onto the structure, but unfortunately it died as was expected from the overwhelming forces I mentioned. Now, since then, FI Coalition have announced that they have ended their campaign against IGC. They feel that they've sent enough of a message, they've done what they wanted to do. I have a campaign here, so I have the Keepstar kill, so you can see here there's 871 showed up for the Keepstar kill. So, like I say, fully outnumbered. And here we have the campaign, and as you can see from the campaign, there was almost $1 trillion lost, 900 billion lost by IGC and co. In this campaign. So from the point of view of FI Coalition, they've done what they wanted to do, and that is now over officially. All right, so there you go. That was a quick one for Feythabolis. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do our giveaway. So this week, new skin, and the skin is for the Megathron battleship. Lots of blaps, lots of guns. There we go. So it's looking good. And as always, the way to win this skin is to put a comment in the YouTube comments below and to use a keyword in a sentence. And last week I picked a keyword that definitely kicked off a lot of comments. After all of the some of the heavy comments that were being made, I think the word this week should be love. There we go. So L-O-V-E. You need to make up a sentence with the word love in the comments, and then I will make the draw after Friday the 11th, 1800 UTC. So you've got until 1800 UTC on Friday the 11th to make your comment with the word love to be in the prize draw. And then after that, do check your comments over the weekend to see if I have replied to you and told you that you've won. Okay, there we go. So back to our map, back into my box, and we're going to go over to Esoteria. So with Esoteria, it's been pretty much about the removal of Bastion. And if you remember, I said last week that Army of Mango were primarily reffing the structures, and reinforcing the structures, and then the timers were not in a good time for AOM, Army of Mango, which is Chinese. And so Invictus and also PAPI forces were coming out to destroy structures. And the last one, sorry, not the last one, but the staging system for the Bastion, which was a Fortizar in G2-INZ, has now been destroyed. This was happened literally just a day or two ago. I have the kill now right here. There we go. So 194 involved. But if we actually look at the battle report, you can see that we had PanFam as well in the terms of Pandemic Horde and Northern Coalition came out, as well as Legacy Coalition, and even some FAPI people came over. So I can see Celestial Empire there, Federation Uprising, which is part of FAPI and Legacy Coalition at the same time. And in fact, Pandemic Legion, Reckless Contingency, so yes, so PanFam came out in pretty much all of them as well. So the main thing here from the Bastion is the Bastion have now stated that they are redeploying to Stain. So they're setting themselves up in Stain. Hang on, let me go back to my map. There we go, so go back to our universe map. So they're going down into Stain, down, where is Stain? I can't even see it now. I'm having a mind blank. I should be looking right at it and I can't see it. There it is. There we go. So there's Stain. So NPC Null. Obviously, we're going to be getting a gate at some point from Empire space into Stain. So that's going to be interesting. But in the meantime, the Bastion have redeployed there. They do still plan to do stuff into Esoteria, but do it from Stain, from the safety of NPC stations and NPC Null. But their main focus has always been to draw forces away from Delve, so they feel like they're achieving their objective in that sense, and it looks like that's going to be continuing. So there you go. So that's brought it up to speed on Esoteria and the Bastion. And now we're going to come up to Outer Ring and Cloud Ring. So what actually happened was there is a fort staging in Cloud Ring right here. This is a staging system for Out of the Blue. Now, Out of the Blue are US time zone Volta, and they have declared an intent to invade Fountain and take Soth. I have been told this by the leadership in FAPI, so FAPI being Fountain Coalition. And so as a consequence of this, a fight broke out, but not in this system. The Fortizar has been put into armor at the last I heard, it maybe even in its final timer by now. but actually not in Cloud Ring, but in Outer Ring. And a fight took place in NM-OEA over an Astra House, because this Astra House was a midpoint jump to that system in Cloud Ring. And I have a battle report here, and you will see, let me see if I can pick the right one. I think it's this one. There we go. And there's lots of different categories, because primarily what we've got is this side, which was Volta. Then we have in pink, we have FAPI, and then the blue on the left is basically PAPI, primarily Legacy Coalition, who came along to assist. And so this Astra House was destroyed, so that kind of helped cut off the logistics lines over to the Fortizar in B-DYQ. So there we go. So we'll have to see if that still continues and whether there will actually be any SOV taken in Fountain, and there'll be something to keep an eye on. All right, and then now we're going to come on to Delve. So as always, we're always talking about the same constellation. I will highlight it as always. So it is this constellation right here, which is the final system that's held by the Imperium in Delve. And then we have PAPI, who are based in T5ZI-S, and also have a stronghold in E-VKJV, where they have a jump bridge. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the show when I was talking about Calidela, I talked about a Keepstar being anchored. The Keepstar was anchored in 3-D MQT. The thing that's important about this Keepstar, why it was anchored, is it's actually anchored within range of the E-VKJV gate. Now what this does is it actually reduces the number of locations that Imperium have to keep moving their capitals to defend. So before we had the primary Keepstar in 3-D, and that had the Sinojammers and the jump gate, and then they had the iHubs, which are in a different location, iHub and TCU, and then they had the actual gate themselves to cover. So by putting a Keepstar in on that gate and moving the Sinojammers and the jump gate there, they now only have 2 areas that they need to cover instead of 3. So it makes moving their capitals around a lot easier. They can primarily keep their capitals in the Keepstar on the E-V gate or the E-V gate, and then just go to the iHub should the iHub be attacked. So there is a strategic advantage to that. It does look like it has made a difference, because there's not been any activity really of any consequence from PAPI into trying to get into 3-D. In fact, structures have been anchored elsewhere. So there was one structure that was anchored in dropped, shall I say, not anchored. There was one ASBEL that was dropped in AWA. There were 2 that have been dropped in A-8YET and 1 in MO-GZ5. Now, the one in 8WA is gone, and then today, just after downtime, the one in MO-GZ5 died, and then the one in N-8YET- died as well, and those 2 were completely uncontested. So there's been very, very little activity going on, and in fact now there is literally only one ASBEL that has been anchored, and obviously we're on a 6-day timer with most of these because of the ADMs. And it was anchored in N-8, and that comes out on Thursday the 10th at 12:44, so that's just after downtime. So that's pretty much it in terms of structures anchoring. And I did, as usual, I did all my usual battle reports. Links are in the description below, where I cover all these areas, and I just do a tally of the totals. And the tallies for this week, let me just show you the battle reports. You can see them right here. So there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I always do them 1500 to 1500 because that's the time at which I generally shoot the video for the war updates. And so this week, the tallies were 170.9 billion losses for Imperium versus 256.7 billion losses for PAPI. And now we're below half a trillion for the week. And it really, really does seem to be slowing down. And as I said, we don't really know where this is going to be going next. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end up with a little bit of story time, because I thought this was worth a mention. Let me go clear that. There we go. Gotta love those ads. Right, there we go. Okay, so what happened was on Saturday night, a corp that belongs to Test, that's in Test Alliance, please ignore, called Imperium. This corporation of 415 characters was announced by one of their leaders, Kilo Alpha, that they were leaving Test and they were joining the Imperium. Now, first of all, this came as a shock because nobody was expecting this, but the people that it really came to a shock for were the actual members of the corporation who were completely unaware of this fact. In fact, the players were told that they were going to be redeploying up to branch with Test in agreement of this, and so therefore they were planning for a move up, and the move up, instead of jumping the capitals towards branch, Kilo Alpha jumped all of the capitals into 1DQ1-A. So the capitals were forced, they were given docking rights, so the capitals docked, and then the active players pretty much all left on finding out this event. And then you can see here, I've got the dotline report, and you can see from this graph at the edge here, these are all the active players on finding out what had happened, essentially left, and they have now created a new corp called Urban Riders, which is right here, with one of the original leaders of Imperium, who's Sam Brown, and as you can see as well that they have now joined Test Alliance, so Test were able to reorganize that. So a little bit of snippet there about some real unilateral action that kind of came out to the blue, and there's quite a bit of drama on the Saturday night, and I just thought I'd bring it to your attention as just a little bit of extra news there. Okay, and then I just need to give a thanks to O-EIMk Cardo. O-EIMk Cardo has a Spanish YouTube channel for Spanish-speaking players. He helped me out with the translation on the fleet preparation subcaps video. If you haven't checked that out, please check it out below. It seems to have gone down very well. Gives you everything you need to know about getting ready for an Alliance fleet in subcaps. Right, so that's all from me for this week. As always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. Mention me in your Corp Discords and your Alliance Discords. I still see that about half of you are not subscribed but watching the videos, so please do subscribe as those numbers really help YouTube promote the channel. Right, that's all from me. Until the next one. Bye.